Hi, welcome back to Like Us Pod. I'm your host, Erin, through these bonus episode play-by-plays of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We will check in with our scoreboard at the end of the episode, but before then, let's get into this week's Hot Mic Confessional. Okay, so for this week's Hot Mic Confessional, I think it's only right if I talk about my Substack article that I wrote earlier this week, where I talk about that I've been keeping track of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and their relatability for the last 10 weeks, and really what that means to me. And something that's really interesting about, or at least what I find interesting about this Substack article, is I really did get inspired by Bo's reposting one of my Scorecard social media post where I'm talking through which housewife is moving up the scoreboard. If you follow me on social media, I kind of make these little like play-by-plays, kind of like post-game kind of scorecard reading, and Bo's saw it. And this is the second time one of the ladies has engaged with these posts. Erika Jane had liked and favorited a few times. Bo's now completely reposted it to her followers. To me, that makes me feel really good, but it also made me reflect that I guess, and I'm not saying this to brag, it actually kind of inspired a Substack post, which was like, is me keeping track of the relatability of these women actually making them feel seen? And I also, in conjunction to writing the Substack, it's a very literary week here. I read Lisa Rinna's book, You Better Believe I'm Going to Talk About It. And in reading the book, even though at that moment that I started writing the Substack article, I don't even know if I read the book yet, but it kind of coalesced into this idea that I don't know if the women on Housewives always feel like they're getting seen as people. I think that they have a lot that happens on this show where they have to act, and not like acting because they're reading lines, but because they're trying to be truthful and respond to things. And some of the stuff that Lisa Rinna writes in her book, I thought was so interesting. There were a couple of quotes that I just thought were absolutely hilarious. One is her talking badly about Sutton. She and Sutton do not get along. But another thing that she mentioned was that when Lisa Rinna quit Housewives, she didn't realize that it was really going to change her life. I think she thought that her life was over, and she made it clear that she believed that the producers made her feel like her life was over. And she said that one of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills wants to get out, and she doesn't feel like she can. And I thought that was really interesting because now that I'm watching the show, I have my hunch of who I believe that is. Another thing that was really funny is she's talking about her time working at QVC, when she had the Lisa Rinna collection. And she goes, yeah, like I used to see Kris Jenner there with Kourtney and Kim, but at the time Khloe was the redheaded stepchild. You were watching Kardashians back then. You sure do remember that time. So anyways, Lisa Rinna's book, You Better Believe I'm going to Talk About It. Worth the read. I read it in like 3 days. Pretty quick read and really funny and good. And so yeah, there's a couple assigned to reading this week as part of the Hot Mic Confessional, my Substack and Lisa Rinna's book. Okay? All right. That's enough of that. Let's get into the play-by-play. So this week, I found that this show ended on such a heavy note, but started on such a light note. And we will get into the heaviness, but I did feel like at the beginning of the episode, we start back in the Hamptons and all is anew, right? It's 9:30 in the morning and all of the women are coming downstairs. They're still at Rachel's friend's house. Rachel Zoe is so iconic. She comes downstairs and she's like hiding from the camera. She has like her mug in front of her face because she doesn't want to be seen. And then, by the way, like she's saying she's not wearing makeup, but it looks like she is wearing makeup. She's so beautiful. Like her skin looks great. So she puts on sunglasses and Kyle's like, you don't need makeup. Rachel's like, I do. And they drink their coffee and they talk about what their plans are of the day. And then Kyle says she's going to go for a run. And this is actually our first Like Us point of the episode, but do not worry, it is not going to Kyle, because if you're like me and I'm like you, we're not big into go on runs. Like I know some people are runners, and to be fair, like I was a college athlete. Like for all intents and purposes, I should love a run, but I do not. I don't want to run. Every once in a while, I get inspired. Like if I have so much energy and I'm like, there's nothing I can do with this energy unless I go for a run, that's the only time. And every time I've ever gone for a run in the last decade, it has been a complete surprise to me that I'm running. I've never set out to go on a run. I've just been on a walk and then it turns into a run. It's never like, I'm going to go for a run today. Like that, if I ever say I'm going for a run, that's code that I got kidnapped. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever want to go for a run. So anyways, Kyle says she's going for a run, and Rachel is like us, because Rachel says that's what she's not going to do. And like us, 1 point to Rachel, because yeah, who wants to, Kyle on vacation at that? Ugh. Kyle Richards, we all aspire to be you, but it's not an aspirational like us point. Meanwhile, back at the ranch at Beverly Hills, Amanda is talking to her fiance, Eddie. And I think that there have been moments where I have called Eddie Amanda's husband. He's not her husband. That is her fiance. They had 2 kids together, and she adopted those other kids or became their stepmother, and they hadn't even been married yet. That's love. Wouldn't be me. Love that for her. So Amanda, and she's talking to Eddie, and she's like, the ladies won't give up the fact that I said something about Dorit's marriage, because Amanda believes that what she said was not that big of a deal. The thing is, and I said this last week, like, it doesn't really matter if it's a big deal or not, because it is nothing to be like, yeah, I said it and I didn't think it was a big deal. But instead of saying, yeah, I said it, she keeps going like, you were mean to me about on the day that my kid died, which like was terrible. But also I think Amanda's caught up in the ins and outs of it. Instead of like at high level, she'll just be like, yeah, I said it. I'm sorry. My bad. Moving on. But she doesn't do that. And that's why we're in this predicament. So Amanda's complaining to Eddie about that. And she's also complaining that she's like, I don't feel like the ladies cared about my manifestation dinner. And it's like, people would have loved to have paid and got this for free. And it's like, oh my God, Amanda, my dear, like get Amanda. It's so much different saying this when you're on camera, but like, Amanda, get friends. Like, I feel like your friends barely care what you do for work. You know what I mean? Like, your friends know what you're passionate about, but they barely care. And like, real friends are not going to be like, oh my God, I got this dinner for free. Like, I don't know. I feel like that means that you're only surrounding yourself with people who are like exalting you. And there's something about having a real friend that like, friends should be rooting you on. They should be your main hype women. But there's also like a groundedness that exists in real friendships where like you are just you as the human, the person. And although I think meditation and the manifestation dinner should have brought the ladies together in that level, Amanda leads with the business. She's not leading with her heart. As corny as that sounds, she's just not. Like, she didn't come on the show leading with her heart. And that's actually what ends up being the conversation that Bose and Sutton have at the same time that we're seeing Eddie and Amanda's conversation. So Bose and Sutton are going on a walk in Beverly Hills. And Bose is like, I just feel like what we're getting with Amanda is pretty one-dimensional. She doesn't say that, but that's what she's getting at. And Sutton also is like, yeah, like it's funny that she was talking about how many rooms that house has, which is funny because Sutton did live in that house too. So she's acutely aware how many rooms the house has. And it's like Amanda's telling this too. When you look at the playback, Amanda's talking about the rooms in the house to Kathy Hilton. This was her sister's old house. And Sutton, who lived in the house. Not people she needs to probably say that to. So it's like, it's just funny that she does that. And Bo says, yeah, like, I think it's funny that Amanda really talks about what she has and what she has. And, you know, Sutton's like, yeah, and like, what is her business anyway? Because she cares so much about this business. And Bose nails it. She says, Amanda is teaching people how to manifest money by taking their money. Succinct. I think that what I like about Bose in this part is she had a bunch of really good one-liners on this walk. We go back to Amanda and Eddie as Sutton and Bose are talking about Amanda. And this is the part where it made me feel like I don't know if Amanda has girlfriends in a real way. Because what she says to Eddie about Dorit is so mean. Also, like, maybe because she's a new housewife, but it also felt like a conversation that should have been had with maybe a friend. I don't know. I felt like her saying like, Dorit outsourced her finances to a man, blah, 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 really negates Dorit's journey and path. But I think it would be hard for Amanda, who has not even been able to express her own journey and path to getting to where she is, to understand Dorit's and to write it off as like Dorit just outsourced everything to a man. When Dorit has said a lot of times that when she first met PK, he was bankrupt and all of these things. So I don't know if that's right. It felt mean-spirited, and I don't like stuff like that. And part of me was like, okay, well, how do I make this not so one-sided? Because I do feel like I've been hard on Amanda. But it felt like Dorit did bring up the cult when they were at dinner. So maybe Amanda felt like she needed to make a dig at Dorit. But if anything, to me, I feel like Amanda is just digging herself into a hole. So back to the Hamptons, which is the trip that I think we all want to be on. This trip looks fantastic, and Kyle is sitting by the pool and she looks so fabulous, and she's FaceTiming Erika. And I feel bad that Erika didn't get to come on this vacation because I think she would have had a good time. Like, I feel like Erika could use a vacation, a real one, and I'm sorry that she had to stay in Beverly Hills during this trip. It just seems really crappy for her. But they're talking. Erika tells Kyle everything that happened at the dinner, and I wasn't surprised that Kyle took Amanda's side, but Kyle did take Amanda's side, and she says, I think everyone's giving Amanda mixed signals. It's like everyone tells Amanda, you have to have an opinion, but no, not like that. And I don't actually think that's what everyone is saying to Amanda, by the way. I think everyone's saying, Amanda, you had an opinion. Now you have to own it. And they won't say Lisa Rinna's phrase. They're not going to say, own it, baby. But like, they really are like, Amanda, you got to own it. You got to cop to it. You got to say what you said. That hasn't quite happened. But, you know, I think it's still interesting. They also talk a little bit about Denise Richards, talking about that she was going to divorce that guy, Aaron, who was on the show. And the thing about Aaron is they would always be like, Aaron's got a big penis. Like, it was like too much. It was too much talk about that. But they did used to talk about how well endowed Aaron was all the time, and turns out he sucked. And Kyle says, I feel really bad for Denise. I reached out to her. Erika says, me too. But now they're going to go do a G&O. It's time for a girls' night out. They hang up. Kyle gets ready. Dorit's getting ready. She has to be on time because everyone's in the same house. Rachel's getting ready. And it is a girls' night out. And I just wanted them to cue like Miley Cyrus, like, cause it's a girls' night. It's all right without you. You guys, mini tangent. I'm really excited for the Hannah Montana 20th anniversary, but I'm also, because it's going to be in front of a live studio audience. How do we get me in the live studio audience for the Hannah Montana special that Disney's doing with Alex Cooper? What videos do I need to make? What do my numbers need to be? Like, what do I need? What do I need? I want to be there. I want to be there. Beyond that, I feel like Hannah Montana is at a very special point in millennial culture where I do feel like people who were like a little bit older millennials, they don't get it at all. They're like, that was for babies. I wasn't watching that show. And then there's like a certain segment of Gen Z that are like, millennials, why would you like Hannah Montana? What's going on here? As a millennial, a young millennial, a zillennial, but a millennial nonetheless, I was watching Hannah Montana, and I distinctly remember Hannah Montana first aired, I think, when I was in maybe junior high and then going into high school. And so we were still all really into it. And there was one of my friends just got her license, and the CD that came out, there were 2 CDs we used to play in her yellow bug. We used to play the Britney Spears Blackout CD, and we used to play the dual album, so 3 CDs, Britney Spears Blackout and Hannah Montana 2 / Meet Miley. Those CDs got played out, and every single song on the Hannah Montana 2 / Meet Miley CD is so good. By the time they got to Hannah Montana the movie, I will be honest, I was like a teeny tiny bit more checked out, but I still know the hoedown throwdown because Miley's my girl and she's my age, and we were all in it. We were all in it together. I haven't made a lot of mistakes in my life, but just like top 3 silly ones. I should have made Michael Jackson, I'm Bad, my walkout song, one of the years I was in college. I should have went to the Hannah Montana concert, and I should have went to Taylor Swift Fearless tour. I should have, those are things that if I could turn back time, I would do. That's like, those are very easy things that like, have they made a big difference in my life? No, but would they have been a good time? Yes. I should have did it. Moving on. The girls are getting ready. Kyle's leaving the house. She's like, I'm not going to put a jacket on because it's going to mess up my look. Yeah, so real. Honestly, I didn't plan on giving Kyle a like us point for that. But in hindsight, I think that's real. So in the moment right now, I'm going to say +1 to Kyle. Because it doesn't get more real than that. Sometimes you can't, as Cardi B once said, a hoe never gets cold. Rachel is in the car, and Rachel goes, I feel like, why haven't I seen Kyle do the splits? I hear Kyle does the splits at the club. I haven't experienced that Kyle. I want to experience that Kyle. Where are splits, Kyle? And if you listen to Danny Pellegrino, he calls Kyle the Splits Richards. He calls her Splits Richards. And she was for a second. She would do the splits. She would grab her hair. I was kind of always grabbing her hair and whipping it around. I like that though. I think sometimes you do need to be a little silly, a little fun, and Kyle was that girl for a second. And I think we bring her back. Bring her back, Kyle. We miss you. Come home, the kids miss you. They end up going to a club, and Kyle and Dorit are still so giddy and excited to be out and about. They're like, oh my God, there's not clubs like this in LA. Ha, ha, ha. Like, they're like stoked to like be out of the house. They're all having a good time. And Dorit says, oh, it feels so nice to hang out with Kyle like this because she's just been taking herself so seriously lately, which I think is hilarious because I actually feel like, and Kyle says this in the after show, but like Dorit's been taking herself so seriously lately. So for Dorit to be like, Kyle's taking herself seriously, but like also Dorit's been taking herself seriously. It's like, how about you both have been way too serious about your lives lately because they're kind of crappy, but how about everyone just takes a breather? And I think that's why Rachel inevitably took Kyle and Dorit on this trip. If only she could have taken Erika, because Erika also needed the trip. But you know, you get in where you fit in, I guess. I also think that maybe the producers thought that taking Dorit and Kyle would mean that there would be like more friction and they would maybe like have an explosion. It doesn't seem like that happens in the Hamptons because Rachel nipped that shit in the bud. And she said, I know this reality TV game. If the producers try to stir you guys up, shut it down. And she looked at everybody and she said, don't you dare tell them to stir up trouble. And I like Rachel for that. That's why we like her on the show, because she knows what's going on. Meanwhile, back at the ranch in Beverly Hills, Lael and Bose. Lael is Bose's 16-year-old daughter. They're talking about that she's getting ready for junior year of high school. Lael is so beautiful, by the way. Bose and her daughter are very close. And in this conversation, Bose is like, I'm kind of nervous for Lael to go to college because I won't be able to see her every day. And I need to lay eyes on my girl, which is the thing that my mom says. I don't know if you guys have a mom that wants to like look at your face. It's a blessing. But my mom will straight up just like FaceTime me because she'll be like, I need to see you. I need to lay eyes on you. I needed to see your face. And it's like, yes, I know I'm cute. Mm-hmm. But like also, like if you have a mom that just like wants to FaceTime you, it's really cute. And I feel like Bose is that to Lael. So when Bose said, I need to lay eyes on my girl, it was such a big like us because my mom says that to me. She's just like, I just need to see your face. I also felt like in this moment, Lael gives Bose such a sweet compliment because Bose is so disappointed that, you know, the IVF treatments haven't been working out as well as she wanted. And Lael says, you know, you've been such a good mother to me. And I would love to see someone else be able to experience that. I think that says a lot about their relationship. It's very sweet. Erika then goes over to Amanda's house. And this is the first time we're seeing Erika and Amanda have any sort of one-on-one together. And I found it to be funny because Amanda in her confessional, she says that she is surprised that she likes Erika. She's like, oh, I'm so surprised I liked Erika. I didn't know that I was going to like her very much. And it's like, I feel like Erika would be someone that most people would get along with on the show. And Erika tells her what everyone's been telling her, which is like, Amanda, you got to cop to it. Just say it. And then I feel like Erika's also giving Amanda advice on how to be a housewife. And the only reason why I know that this is happening is because I read Lisa Rinna's book, and Lisa talks about that. When she first got on the show, one of her first scenes is Brandi Glanville, her and Eileen Davidson, and Brandi throws wine at Eileen. But during this conversation, Brandi is breaking the fourth wall, and she's like, oh, don't worry, they're going to cut around it. This is just what it is. And I feel like Erika was breaking the fourth wall with Amanda, and they cut around it, where Erika's like, these are the rules of how to be a housewife. These are the rules of engagement. This is how you play the game. And Amanda was kind of trying to listen to her, kind of trying to digest it. But then Erika also then gets into her like producer hat, and she says, we want to know about the cult. We need to know about these things. This is what we need to do. But it wasn't just, I want to know about the cult. It was Erika saying, I want to know about the cult so I can talk about you behind your back. And that level of honesty, which I know, like, I'm not saying I talk about people behind their backs because I really don't, but I do want to know, like, I want to know. I want to know what's going on. Like, as much as I'm like, I don't want to know. Like, I do want to know. Tell me. I want to digest it. I am like a vacuum seal. I do not really repeat things that people tell me, but I do want to know. And I like that Erika was like, I want to know about the cult so I can talk about it later. And she was being honest in that moment because she's a housewife and she knows that's her job. And she says, Amanda, give me a story to tell. Give me a story to tell about you, kiddo. And I like that. I like that Erika came in kind of, it was like Bull Cassidy and the Sundance Kid right here in this scene. So Amanda gets into the cult story. And what's funny is like Amanda and we talked about this a couple weeks ago. It's like Amanda's like, I'll tell you about the cult, and then she never does. And so Erika's like, you're gonna have to tell somebody about this cult. Let it be me. And so she starts talking about it. And I feel like the cult story wasn't the whole story. I feel like we got a piece of what happened, which was Amanda was not raised in a religious household, but she was she was raised in religious Oklahoma, and she wanted to fit in. And so in order to fit in, she started going to youth group. And then the pastor that was leading a youth group started a church in Florida. And she ended up going to Florida for this church. And her parents were like, you're kind of in a cult. But she didn't think she was in a cult. But then the pastor was kind of mean and didn't let them like date people or marry anybody and was kind of controlling. And then Amanda kept getting in trouble and she hated getting in trouble. And then he like wouldn't let her be friends with her sister. And she thought that was weird. And so then she like escaped one night on Halloween. And after she did her church kind of volunteer work, she drove to her sister's house and got out. And then he called her angry. And that was the cult story. That feels like the headline. I think we need to get underneath. I think we need to find out more. We'll get there. But Erika is satisfied, and Erika's asking her questions, and she's raising eyebrows, and she says, ooh, you must have been controlled, and like getting all the tea. We then go back into the Hamptons, and we're at dinner. It's Rachel, it's Dorit, it's Kyle, and right off the bat, Dorit gets a like us point, because when they're ordering the food, Dorit's like, I need chicken tenders, and we got to make sure there's fries. That's necessary. And that's the type of order that speaks to my heart, because that's what I want. So I'm like, I get you. I also ordered that way. Dorit, my girl, +1, like us point. And all the girls are flirting because they were guys at the club, and the guys at the club are now at this dinner. And Rachel tells the story of someone asking for her number at an Oscars party, and he was 26, and she said, me too. I love her. Why can't she be? You know what I mean? I remember when I was like 25, I asked someone like, what's the right time to start lying about your age? And they were like, now. And I would have loved to, but because I was a college athlete, and part of your being an athlete and roster is like your birthday and whatever, and like how when you graduated high school and blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, my age has been on the internet since I was 18, and there's nothing I can do about that. So it is what it is. Everybody knows how old I am. So I don't know if I can lie about my age like that. Sometimes I want to. Sometimes I want to be like, we're like, how old are you? I want to be like 28. A friend of mine, she just turned, I don't even know how old she turned. She might be like 35, 36, 37. And she said it was her 30th birthday. And I'm like, I want that too, maybe. But then I think getting older is I'm like moving around too much. I feel like getting older is honestly such a gift though. Like, to be able to age is such a privilege that part of me feels like lying about it feels so silly. And if you look older, or like if you are older but you look younger, then it's kind of cool. Like, then it's like, oh, you look great for your age. So I don't know. Ageism hasn't hit me. It's not been a thing. I felt like actually when I was young, I had more ageism because I was too young for things, and I couldn't wait to be older. I always wanted to be 30. I always wanted to be 28. I always wanted to be 30. I'm really looking forward to being 35. And like, I also feel like even like in your 40s is a really good time too. Like, and even like, I just read, like I said, this episode is brought to you by, you better believe I'm going to talk about it. They didn't pay me to talk about this book, by the way. But in Lisa Rinna's book, she talks about being in her 60s and how she loves it and how it's her most free. And so I don't know. I think getting older is a privilege, so lying about your age is not necessary. But if you get hit on by a guy that's 30 years younger than you, for me, that would be illegal. But for Rachel, getting hit on by a guy 30 years younger than her is not illegal, and she can say that she's also their age. Hilarious. Rachel also brings up that she saw that Erika had a bunch of trial details, and she feels bad for her. There's a lawsuit for $25 million. And Kyle is a real friend in this moment. And she's like, I just feel bad for Erika because she keeps trying to get on her feet. And like every time there's a new lawsuit, and it's like what they think that she has $25 million to fight for this. Like it's just ridiculous at this point. And, you know, Kyle had a lot of empathy for Erika in that moment. I feel like that was really sweet. And then they move to talking about different types and Dorit being a flirt and what is Dorit's type. And Dorit's like, I don't really care about what guys look like too much. I don't care. And something that Dorit says that's really funny is that her mom always told her to never date the best looking guy in the room. And then you think about her dating PK and she's like, I just really like charisma and swag and confidence. And Rachel's like, I want the guy to be hot. And she's like, I want it to be Brad Pitt. And Dorit's like, ew, Brad Pitt. And everyone's like, Dorit, you are crazy. Brad Pitt is attractive. And I love that Dorit is like, no, I don't want Brad Pitt. And it's like, really? But then in the after show, they do say that they both agree that they would think Johnny Depp was cute. Young Johnny Depp. I think they're both cute. They're both handsome. I don't know. I get what Dorit is saying, but no. I love it. They end up talking too about that Erika relayed to Kyle what happened at Sutton's, and I wish that the editors wouldn't have done this. They actually cut Kyle off because Kyle is in the process of telling Dorit why it's weird that she wasn't invited, and Dorit's like, oh, I don't care about that, but it's clear that Kyle got to finish that thought, and I wanted to hear why Kyle thought it was weird that Dorit wasn't invited. I wish we would have gotten to know that information. But alas, we don't. Dorit says she's more worried, or she's as worried about Amanda as a hangnail. But hangnails hurt. So I am worried about a hangnail. If I have a hangnail, I am obsessed about it. But I guess Dorit doesn't care about her hangnails. Rachel then kidnaps the girls and she says, we're going dancing again. So they went dancing, they ate a meal, they were going to go dancing again. And then there was an after party. And then I think there was an after party for the after party. And Rachel's going hard, and I love that for her. That's fun. She was like, we're going to stay out longer than the cameramen. I think that's a good time. We also cut back to Beverly Hills, and we're at a dinner now with Erika Jayne, Sutton, and Denise Richards. We had a Denise Richards sighting. And I like that Denise came to this dinner with clearly the intent to set her record straight. She was going through the divorce with this guy, Aaron. She also comes in and she looks good as hell. And maybe she knew she was about to be on camera, but the girl, she said, I got a facelift. I got my boobs done. I got fat sucked out. She had Denise was like, you will see me back on this show and I will look way more snatched than I looked the last time. And I'm not going to lie, Denise looked good. She looked really good. I also felt in this moment, in this scene, them having this conversation about plastic surgery, it felt so Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I feel when people think of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Real Housewives in general, they think plastic surgery. But Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, where there used to be an actual plastic surgeon's wife on the show, ideal. I feel that is the type of conversations that this particular franchise should lean into sometimes. And it's funny because, there's always one that's I've never gotten anything done, which is Sutton. It's I've only had Botox. I've never had a plastic surgery. And it's okay, good for you, Sutton. I don't know. Don't get anything done. I don't know. Whatever. So they end up going back and forth. Erika talks about that she's only got the bottom done to give herself a younger looking neck. Denise said they pulled her scalp back. So she got a real facelift. That's so crazy. Don't you think I will say that when you get a facelift, you do look it is better than fillers. Facelifts are better than fillers because it you look crazy for a second, but then when it settles, it looks really good. But they do cut your ears. They pull you by your, it's all, I cannot even believe it. Actually, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. They move into Erika telling Denise and Sutton kind of about her problems. Denise is like, I'm surprised to see you two together. And Erika deadpan looks at her and says, Denise, miracles happen. Oh, I love it. And it's funny because Erika has the ability to have such a dry sense of humor, but also own whatever else she has going on. And so she talks about the lawsuits, and then she asks Denise about the abuse allegations and the photo of her black eye. And I like that Erika she was so honest about herself that then it gave Denise permission to be honest, because she says, I'm going through shit, but I want to talk about that black eye. I want to talk about the photo. And Denise says that Aaron was being abusive to her while she was recovering from plastic surgery. And so after the facelift, allegedly he hit her in the face. And that's when she was like, I can't stay. I can't do this. And the editors show Aaron saying like he denies all of these allegations, but they also show a clip of him on the show being really aggressive to the ladies, and also another clip of him telling Denise, I will crush your hand. So I don't know. But I do know that Denise came being able to set her own record straight and own her own narrative. And she said he's making Charlie Sheen look like a saint. And I think that that's, that says a lot. But Erika also reveals that that happened to her too. And like, I feel bad for Erika. Like, I feel like Erika being honest, like, hey, I also went through something where someone was being abusive to me, and it's really embarrassing that my son is a police officer and I had to call the police and then tell my son that I reported something that he's going to hear about. Like, ugh. So tough. And she said it happened after Tom. It was like a new guy she was dating. And I really commend Erika for being super honest and vulnerable. And she showed how to give space for someone else going through that and how she was able to honor herself in that. And Sutton is just sitting there like the rest of us, like jaw on the floor. Like, Erika? Like, if Erika could go through that. But you know what? I realized in watching Paris Hilton's documentary that she made a few years ago, This Is Paris. And in the documentary, she was about to DJ at Tomorrowland, and she was so excited for this DJ set. She'd been working so hard for it, and she was in a relationship with this guy, and on camera the documentary crew captured this man like towering over her and Paris cowering to him. And I remember being like, Paris Hilton? So when Erika tells the story, I'm like, Erika, like, it's so unfortunate that that's a reality for so many women. And so I feel like it's really important for Erika to use her platform to open up those types of conversations. And I think the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills has never shied away from those conversations. Unfortunately, with Taylor and Russell, that was a storyline very early on this franchise. But it's something that I hope that no one relates to, but I know that people do. And so I will be giving Erika a like us point for that. What I felt like, though, that was really ridiculous is Sutton then is like in awe when it's happening. She's like, Erika, she's like, can't even believe it. But then she goes in her confessional and she's almost in tears, which, like, I get it. Maybe she has really deep empathy for her friend, but I felt like, don't you hate a person who, like, I can't stand somebody who takes on someone else's emotions and like gets overwhelmed. Like Sutton being like, I'm overwhelmed. It's like, it's not your life. You shouldn't be overwhelmed by someone else's experience. Let Erika be overwhelmed by that. Like, it was giving narcissism. I didn't like that. I also like felt like at the end of this episode, for it to end on such a heavy, heavy note after being kind of silly, kind of light, and then it ended very drastically with this big reveal. And then we know next week we're going to talk about it a little bit more. Erika. Okay, but that's a wrap on the episode. Let's get into the scoreboard. Now, before we get into the scoreboard, I want to be honest about something. So many people have started being like, we hope so-and-so wins. We hope so-and-so wins. And I will say that that's not the point. Like, I know that you can root for someone. I think that's super fun, and it keeps it competitive, and it makes you come back. So you want to see if your girl will win, if your horse in the race is going to take it to the top. But I'm not rigging the system. I'm being objective because there's already so much subjectivity on what is relatable or not. I'm not rigging the system, okay? Someone has been like, can't you just rig it so Rachel wins? And I'm like, I will not be doing that. I'm going to be true to what's going on, and I'm going to call it like I see it, okay? I'm going to be a fair umpire on the scorecard. I'm a fair umpire as much as I can be. Now, in the episode, we did have some points that were given out, and people are moving down the scorecard. So Erika got 2 points. She had 1, her telling Amanda to tell her the information, like, oh, Amanda, tell me so I can talk about you. Like us point. Her second like us point came from her being honest about her experience facing domestic violence. And I felt like that was really important for Erika to say. It made her human, and it was a good use of her platform so that people who were in those situations can get help. Rachel gets a point for being like, I am not going on a run. Kyle got a point because Kyle got a point for not wanting to wear a jacket because it was going to ruin her outfit. A hoe never gets cold, Kyle. Dorit got 1 point for her chicken tenders and french fries order, because who doesn't want chicken tenders and french fries? If you don't want to eat that at a restaurant, sometimes we have nothing in common, because sometimes you got to get chicken tenders and fries. That's just the right order sometimes. Lastly was Bose telling Lael, I need to be able to lay eyes on you. That's exactly right. It felt like my mom talking to me. So in the end, we have now Erika is in first place. She remains in first by herself. Last week, Rachel and Erika were tied. Now Erika has first by herself at 60 points. Rachel has also moved up, though. She's in second place by herself with 55 points. Bose is in third place with 45 points. And Kyle is right behind Bose with 40 points, with her 1 point from this episode. And thank you so much for listening. If you are listening to us on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming up next. And if you are on Spotify, leave a comment, leave a 5-star review. They mean so much. I appreciate you listening. Make sure to follow me on social media at Jones-Wesley. And you can follow the podcast at Like Us Pod. Thanks so much for listening, and we will chat next week. Bye.